If we're going to open up some doors to explore our inner world, yes, we're talking about Tantra. Yes, we're talking about our relationship between the masculine and the feminine in the whole of our world, in our relationships, intimate relationships, non-intimate relationships, in life itself. Yes, all of those things external. But for this exploration, I want to work inside out. So I want to invite all of us to work from the inner alchemical shifting, or even just inner awareness. And that's a lot of times what my aim is on these lives, in these podcasts, in these circles, is giving us different ways and tools and doorways to see things we maybe haven't seen before, to go into places that we maybe haven't seen before, and even awaken energies that we maybe haven't awoken before, or shift them, or dare I say the word heal things that we maybe haven't had the capacity to get to yet. So that's my aim. And kind of before we dive into this topic, just an invitation to feel into, is there anything I can do in this moment to deepen in or to support myself over these next 35 minutes? Is there anything I can do? Like if I was going to gift myself with this conversation, with this space, how can I set myself up to receive the gift that this could be? How can I receive? And that's really what it is. It's just us being open, being receptive, being curious, being non-judgmental, all of those things that I'm always saying at the start of circles. Of if we can walk into this territory, any territory really of inner exploration, with this non-judgmental curiosity, it will pay off in spades. So just this quick moment to bring a bit of awareness around that, and an invitation to just feel into what most supports you in this moment. So this conversation around masculine and feminine and reunion, I'm loving this term. I'm loving this feel of this experiencing, not just like talking about, but this inner experience and outer experience of what it can be, what masculine, the dance of the masculine and feminine can be, what a tantric relationship can be, what a creative relationship within ourselves can be. It's almost this feeling into a high potential of relationship, like feeling into a potential that we don't often see in the world. We don't often see it being embodied in individuals. We don't often see it being expressed in partnerships or relationships or sexually. So I'm going to invite us to kind of start this conversation by, actually, this sucks. This is gonna suck. This is where we're gonna start it from. It's gonna suck. Start it from how, let me find the right words to get this across. Maybe how reality of relationship hits you, or reality of sexuality hits you, or reality of your own inner relationship between your masculine and feminine hits you. Let's start from there, or start from looking out into the world at relationship and all of the ways that it's let you down. Like it's let you down. How we feel that feeling. Most of us feel that feeling of, there has to be a better way to do this. There has to be a better way to make love. There has to be a better way to be in a partnership, whether that be an intimate partnership or a working partnership. Like there has to be a better way to just connect. And even we can take it another step further outside of intimate partnership and go just human to human connecting. Like there has to be a better way. And that's where I want to start from. There has to be a better way. the way my parents had a relationship. There has to be a better way than that. The working relationship in jobs I've had or a job I have currently, there has to be a better way. And this is tougher because now it's feeling into myself, and it's way easier for us to see and to feel outside of ourselves than it is to feel into ourselves. But just feeling, if you can feel anything in this moment in self, of there has to be a better way. There has to be a better way for my emotional nature. We'll just say that for the feminine in this moment. There has to be a better way for my emotional nature to jive with my logical nature. And I'm not saying that those are, one is feminine, one is masculine, but they're kind of traits, they're kind of aspects of what I'm inviting us to explore here. And they're easier ways than saying there has to be a better way for my own inner feminine to dance with my own inner masculine, because we mostly go like, I don't even know what that means. So maybe I'll just give us a couple of different parameters. And for those of you who are live or on the replay, I would love comments on this. So I think this is one of those moments where we can be interactive and we can share our wisdom and we can share what's coming up, and it's not just Sabrina making up examples. But if we feel into one aspect of our feminine and one aspect of our masculine dancing together, like I just said, that example of there has to be a better way for my emotional nature to be in relationship to my logical nature. I'll give you some more, I'll just keep going, and you feel into like which ones are hitting you, which ones are poking you, which ones are angering you or making you sad, or you feel into which ones are arising for you. And again, the more that we share, the more that we're gifting each other, and oftentimes the more that we share, the more that we get. So comments, please, if there's anything coming to mind. But it's like there has to be a better way for my intuition to dance and work with my reason, where one's not overriding the other one, where they're both in this beautiful, harmonious relationship. So I'm able to really allow my logic, my ration, my reason, my brain, all of that, that would be left brain, right? I think I got that right. My left brain to work more with my right brain, my flowing, my creativity side, my intuitive side. And we don't have to even go left brain or right brain. I'm just kind of trying to throw out a couple of different ways for us to feel into this. Here's the thing. We don't even know most of the time that there's a better way. We just don't even know that there's a better way for different aspects of ourselves to be working with other aspects of ourselves. Oftentimes we can't see it. That's why this conversation is so hard and so challenging. And there's a whole preparation to get there. And if you look outside first and then you kind of look inside, and I want to read off some of these comments that have come in during the live, because it will give other examples and other things to feel into. So let me just read these, and again, keep sharing if you feel to, or feel into which ones are really hitting something or sparking something for you. Okay, so when my feminine is in power, allowing my masculine to just hold the energy and not conquer. So just feeling into that. When my feminine is in power, like my masculine has this capacity to just hold the energy and not conquer, like not trying to conquer or possibly like shut down or diminish when my feminine is in her power. I love that one. I love this, the quote, survival of the strongest has to end. We are all strong in our own ways. And that's almost like that valuing piece around, there's more value that we place on oftentimes masculine traits versus feminine traits. So I think that's a beautiful weaving in. I love this one, Marianne, thank you. My nurturing nature doesn't dance well with my competitive nature, right? How good is this? This is beautiful, right? But bringing all of these things into a relationship where it's both and, it's not either or, right? It's not, I only have nurturing or I only have competitive. I have capacity to express the full spectrum, and I have the wisdom to know where to be on that spectrum in every moment, right? So that's a huge part of it too, is not only are the seemingly duality natures of these things open for us, right? These gifts, the gift of competition, it can be a gift, an extremely beautiful gift, right? When expressed in that alignment place with heart-centered, soul-centered place, it can be a very, very, very big gift. I know that my competitive nature, it's never about diminishing someone else so that I am better, but my competitive nature, just because I have that, it will sometimes create things in this world that I would have never created. It will sometimes hold circles and hold spaces in that I would have never created, right? Simply because of that. And so I'm kind of trying to give some examples around that, but I love that. And the wisdom to know when it serves, in what moments it serves. Aurora, I love your words. Your words are better than my words for this one, for sure. Allowing my intuition to work in balance with my strategy and action, right? Like, come on, that's powerhouse stuff. That's powerhouse stuff. Like, now we're starting to see why this is important. Like, we're starting to see, like, this is powerhouse stuff. If I've got my intuitive nature is kicked on, along with my strategy and action is kicked on, like, that's when we make things happen. That's when miraculous stuff happens in our life. That's so fully empowered. Let's see. Allowing my masculine to provide support for my feminine flow. There has to be a better way for my emotional self and unconscious self to be valued by me first for a change, instead of logic, ration getting credit for going first. All right, I want to kind of leave the rest of the comments, and if there's more to share, keep sharing them, or if you're not on the live commenting here, share in the comments section below if you feel to. So we're starting to see maybe possibly something that we can't necessarily see yet. And now maybe just take a moment and feel into someone who you feel, it could be someone you know or someone that you don't necessarily know that well, but is, I don't know, maybe on television or a teacher or an author or something, and feel into just someone who you feel like they kind of carry masculine, feminine within themselves. You feel like they, like the dance of the masculine, feminine. It doesn't mean that they're, so here's a tricky part. It doesn't mean that they're expressing both equally simultaneously. It never means that, never means that. But that they have healthy relationship to the different aspects. So healthy relationship to the different aspects. There's a 4-part relationship that I sometimes talk about, and I'll talk about it here just for a quick reference, but it's, if I have a masculine and feminine in myself and to feel into, and this is just another kind of feeling into a couple of different things. I know I'm throwing a lot at us and I'm kind of jumping all over the place, but it's giving us just different things to feel into. And so now is like a really good reflective moment, another one. So if you kind of feel into someone who you feel has healthy relationship between masculine and feminine, now feel into self and go, okay, my masculine and my feminine side, and feel into your feminine side. So just take a moment to fully sink into feminine. Like, just fully sink into your feminine. And now feel into your feminine's love of masculine. Just love of masculine. Feel into your feminine's fear. Fear's a tricky one to get to. Fear of masculine. Your feminine's disappointment in masculine. Your feminine's grief toward masculine. Your feminine's distrust of masculine. your feminine's devotion to masculine, your feminine's, do you feel what we're doing here? Do you feel, I mean, you could do that for years and probably uncover lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of things. So that's one relationship of, if I were to just go into my feminine, and a part of the beautiful like gift of working with archetypes, gift of working with other practices or modalities or tools that will take you into specific parts of self, right? Into, because right now we're like looking at the whole enchilada. It's like, but like we need a bite-sized piece that we can like handle, that we can dive into, that we can swim in. And so if you start to look at archetypal couples, so you'll have maybe heard me like make jokes about fucking through the archetypes, like the book I'm gonna write and the huge program that I'm gonna do, I'm fucking through the archetypes. And I say it in jest, and I say it as a way of, I don't know, just bringing us into just our, who knows, we don't need to go there, but let me just explain. Like the gift of it is that if we start to go into archetypal couples, we start to go into patterns within self that we maybe haven't gotten to. Persephone Hades, for example. This is a perfect way to step into this. A lot of you have just done the Persephone retreat. The Persephone and Hades, they're an archetypal couple. They happen to be shadow workers. They happen to be king and queen of the underworld. They happen to be holding a whole lot of different layers of feminine and different layers of masculine relationship. Now we like touched into that relationship between Persephone and Hades briefly in that retreat. I mean, it was 2 full workshops worth, and it was an intense, wild ride. But we get to see where innocent maiden in me, how innocent maiden in me expresses in masculine essence. We get to see how wild woman in me expresses within masculine essence. Can you start to feel this? I get to see these different threads of my feminine, and I get to feel in through archetypal energy, through a deeper place in ourselves, like tapping into deeper body stuff, getting way beyond the brain, because the brain can't go there. It just can't go there. I think that's why I struggle sometimes on these lives, is because like it's still so talking, it's still so brainy and still so logical. But when you do like embodied experiential work and you get to drop into other states of consciousness that are not just using the brain as a wisdom center, you start to use the heart wisdom center, you start to use the womb wisdom center, you start to use Dantian wisdom center, you start to use upper seat of the soul, lower seat of the soul, throat, you start to use all of these different wisdom centers, and you start to go into places and you start to find where your feminine fears an aspect of masculine, where our feminine distrusts an aspect of masculine, where our feminine has been hurt by and has a patterned response to a certain archetypal energy of masculine. It's wild. It is a wild, beautiful, amazing journey. One that is so hard to bring words to, but it's one that when you start to go on it, you start to see why relationship didn't work for you, why this thing in your current relationship doesn't work, why sex isn't what it could be, why it's hard to keep your heart open and loving and hard to stay in your truth or speak your truth or be in alignment in this particular energy. We start to see all of that. And so remember at the very start, I spoke about let's go in to go out. Let's do some inner work to do some outer work. And when we do that inner work, which is what I'm talking about, the archetypes and, just different ways of getting in, going deep, going into the cracks in the heart, going into the old pattern responses in our bodies. Our bodies have old patterned responses that are based on our history. They're not even based on like the present moment oftentimes. This is a patterned response. But when we find doorways in there, we find access points in there, and I'll talk about doorways in, and I'll talk about access points, and I'll talk about how we can get in there in a minute, because I always want to like give how to do something instead of just like, here's this amazing thing and this is what it'll do for your life. Here's also how. And I know for those of you who are on the live, I know Leo is leaving beautiful, amazing comments of supportive podcasts too. So you'll see that in the description below on YouTube if you watch later, or if you're here on the live, like she's leaving huge, amazing comments of like, hey, this is a podcast from the past that supports what Sabrina's talking about right now. Here's another podcast that supports this, or these are different aspects of the masculine, So Leo, I just want to give you a huge shout out, sister. Thank you. And I also want to let everyone know that there's more stuff to support this conversation. But when we do that inner work, it automatically shifts the stuff in our outer world. It automatically shifts the stuff in our outer world. It automatically shifts our relationship to our Father. It automatically shifts our relationship to our lover. It automatically shifts our relationship or how we parent our kids. It can't not, right? The physical, it's like as above, so below. As within, so without. We shift it in here and we shift it out there. We shift it internally. And the external physical has to follow suit. It has to. It's law. It's law. It has to. It has to catch up. It has to come into resonance with that deep internal shift. But it's finding how to do that deep internal shift. And not even finding how to, just realizing that, wow, a deep internal shift around my masculine and feminine relationship to each other is something that would be of huge benefit to me. It is something that would be of huge value to me. So for those of you who are here live or watching later, I know a lot of you have done work with masculine and feminine, either within yourself in a relationship or just rawly with masculine and feminine energies. And I want to hear, what has it done for your life? So I don't want me to just be the talking head who says, this is what it's done for my life, which is pretty much changed everything in my life. But I want to hear from everyone else. So it's not just me saying, wow, this is something we should really do. But like, if you can give tangible, practical examples, like what the polarities, working the masculine and feminine, working those energies within yourself or in certain ways that you've worked them, like what has it done? What has it done? Do you now have orgasms that you could have never had before because you actually trust someone else to take you to a place? You actually are allowing your body to receive and relax to a degree that you never could before, right? Because you've opened up to this aspect of feminine receptivity, right? Feminine pleasure, feminine bliss, feminine joy. Does it change how you are able to bring something into the world, how you're able to make manifest, right? So some of us, we're really good at dreaming. We're really good at being creative in a being state. But when it comes to a doing state of making it physical manifest, we fall. We fall flat. So has it changed your capacity to bring something into the physical, capacity to make something happen, capacity to directionally steer something? So maybe there's nothing, or maybe there's comments that are not popping up on my end around this, but maybe I won't read any out. I'll just kind of leave that. I love this one. It opens you up to everything. No more limits. I will share that I have never, starting to tap into, I'm going to read a couple of these because I think they're worthwhile and they might open up something in us listening. Starting to tap into it now, and wow, it is shifting everything. I'm opening up to the fullness of my being, showing up in the world in alignment with spirit. Roxy, thank you so much for that, woman. I'll maybe just kind of see if there's any other comments that pop up. Let me feel into this for a moment. There was a place I was gonna go. When aligned, I have the capacity to have everything. I just dream it and it happens. Give me the strength where fear does not exist. I'm watching as it helps me heal my body in years of trauma from endometriosis and many surgeries. Woman, thank you so much for that, Hillary. This is what I was going to share before. I love this one. It's a work in progress, an ongoing nurturing of an inner eros gamos. Allowing a blend of both allows a greater palette of color for experience and expression, more scope for my daughters too. Allowing my feminine to be seen and fully held by my masculine has allowed me to tap into and express the fullness of my emotions with men. No more shutting off the huge love. Claire, I love that. Thank you. So this was the piece I wanted to share. And then I'll go into some practices or some doorways in, some ways in. I have never either been facilitating a space with men and women doing masculine, feminine work, or been in a space as a participant, let's say, where we're doing men and women's work. So we're doing masculine, feminine work. We're doing that inner work. We're doing the archetypes, or we're doing the polarities, or we're doing tantric practices, or we're just exploring our own masculine and feminine within, without. We're just in it. And so facilitating, and I've facilitated a lot all over the world, or experiencing, and I've experienced a lot as a participant all over the world. I have never come across a person in any of those workshops, retreats, who did not come up against fear of masculine and feminine, who did not come up against distrust of the other, of both, really. I mean, if I'm more identified with feminine, I still distrust my feminine to degrees. It's otherwise we'd all be in our fullness, and we'd all be totally awake, and we'd all have perfect fucking relationships and amazing sex lives, and like these beautiful, amazing relationships, right? We wouldn't be doing this. This is part of what the beautiful human experience is. But to just really go like, there isn't, we don't live in a world where the feminine honors the masculine and the masculine honors the feminine in their fullness. We just don't. Our parents didn't, our communities don't, our friends don't. We do to the degree that we're capable of. And so just to share that piece of like, men and women alike, everyone on the gender spectrum alike, we all struggle with this. We all struggle with this. We all struggle with this aspect of my masculine does not like that aspect of the feminine. Like, I just don't find value in that aspect of the feminine, or I don't really trust that aspect of the feminine, or vice versa. Like, this part of my feminine just really thinks this part of my masculine's an asshole. You're just a controlling asshole, right? So we have all of these very false, like when words keep repeating themselves in our heads, right? Like false, like tape player just repeating things. We have a very false sense of things. So, all right, just to kind of share that. And then to share, like, how can we get in there? Like, how can we get in to deeper layers beyond the mind? How can we get into like raw essence of masculine, raw essence of feminine? How can we get in there? So I want to share a couple of things around that. Where do I want to go with this? Let me feel for a second. Man, oh man. this one never comes up. I never say something like this, but it's finding like what it is that you can read, listen to, study in a way that removes the personal aspect of it. So removes us from it being so close to us, removes the personal aspect of it. So books or teachers, and for those of you who are on the live, or if you're watching later and you want to like leave some resources that have helped you, I think that's beautiful, and that's something glorious to just build here in our community. So if you want to share, that's fabulous. But to start, so this is a really weird example, but it'll hopefully get my point across. When I started studying astrology, I kind of thought astrology was just ridiculous. I still think astrology is ridiculous. I love it, and it's gifted me in a billion different ways, and I can see the world in a different way. And that's the point I want to make about this, is I get to see myself and others in a different way because I've studied astrology. So it's not even about like the stars and the planets and all of their alignment. It's just that it allows me to take a step back and go, wow, not everyone's like me. And that's kind of the first point I want to make here. It allows me to take a step back and go, wow, not everyone has a personality built like I do, right? And so when I started, I don't know, a billion years ago, just first started baby astrologer, and still a baby astrologer. I think I'll always be a baby astrologer, but starting way back when, to start to go into it, and it would tease pieces of self apart. It makes them bite-sized. It makes them able to see. And so just feeling into that around the masculine and the feminine, around the masculine and the feminine. You could do it through archetypal studies. You could do it through astrology. You could start to study Mars and Pluto and then Venus and Moon. And then you can start to go into all of the asteroids. And it starts to give us like the bird's eye view. It starts to give us the bird's eye view. So we've got to like get out. You have to get out in order to be able to see. And so finding like what resonates with you, what sings to you, to be able to get out of it being so personal and so wrapped up and so intertwined, right? Because it was like what I shared before is, we're kind of looking at like the whole enchilada of the thing. It's like, I don't even know where to start with the whole enchilada. I can't even take a bite out of this thing. But if you pull apart a thread of it and you take a step back, it's much more digestible. Much more digestible. So feeling into, thanks Emily, I try, sister. But feeling into like what, and you just pay attention, like what books fall off the shelf, what Instagram posts pop up, what little lecture pops up, what teacher, what program, what thing pops up that gifts you with the capacity to see from a different place, to see outside of our limits, to see outside of the ways that we always are seeing. That's kind of the point of this. Practice number 2. So that's one. Practice number 2, this is a fun one. Well, actually, I'll go into that in a second. Practice number 2 is figure out how to get out of the head. So I know one, I've just said, find books and resources and mind stuff. Mind stuff is great. And yes, do it. But then moving in and moving deeper, find ways to embody. So we don't just want the relationship of our own masculine and feminine to be a mentalized thing. Like, yep, read it in a book. I get it. That's cool. We want it to be a gnosis. I know it, I live it, I embody it, I am it, I know it in my bones. My whole body knows it. My cells operate from that place. My heart operates from that place. My organs operate from that place. It becomes it penetrates us fully into the depths of our being. It's not just cognized. It's not just, oh, that makes sense at all. It's getting into the deep wiring of our bodies, and it's kind of that deep inner alchemical rewiring. Your nervous system will change. Your nervous system will change. That's the level that you want to get to, and whatever practices, modalities, things that take you into that level is extremely extremely beneficial to get to the authentic place of this, to get to the deep truth of our own inner masculine, feminine relationships, our own inner Tantra. We're doing a program on this, and this is the first time I'm announcing this, and it's free. Yeah. So we're actually doing a program at the end of this year. So it's 2020. We're doing a program like at the tail end of this year into 2021 of 7 days of masculine, feminine exploration. So we're calling it Reunion. I can't remember the other words of it, but it's I think Leo or Malia will leave links here on the live, and you'll find links to it below. But it's kind of like 12 days of circle. So for those of you who maybe did 12 days of circle last year, where we did like 12 days of workshop, it was a full-on proper online retreat where we just went for it for 12 days. This is what we're doing this year to bring in the new year. So it's 7 days, because I think 12 days almost killed all of us last year, including myself. It was big and it was full on. I think there were like 8,000 women who went through 12 days of circle, maybe more. Maybe it was like 10,000, 12,000. I don't know. It was a lot. But this will be the one that we're going to do, and we're going to explore inner masculine and feminine. We're going to explore, and it's open to men, women. It's open to everyone on the gender spectrum. So for those of you who've been like, I want to invite the men, this is something that's for the men and for the women and for everyone else, right? It's fully, we're just going to go in. We're going to go in. We're going to go through 6 workshops, 6 good, big, proper workshops in 7 days. And we're going to explore this inner world, and we're going to do it experientially. We're going to do it embodied. We're going to do it through archetypal. We're going to do it through shamanic journeying. We're going to do it through altered states of consciousness. We're going to do it through transmissions. We're going to do it through a whole lot of Shakti. We're going to do it through a whole lot of Shiva practices. We're going to do it through a whole lot of divine union practices. And that's kind of, we love doing this for our community, and we'll end up probably opening up a space for men and women who want to continue on that journey after. But those 7 days, that retreat, that is all we need is your email address so we can send you access to the workshops every day. So every day we'll send a new workshop. Yes. We're excited. I'm nervous. I'll be honest. I'm nervous about this one. So for those of you, I was talking about the Persephone Hades, we pushed some edges in that retreat. We pushed edges. We pushed edges of sacred sexuality. We pushed edges of masculine feminine relationship. We pushed edges of tantra. We pushed edges of feminine. We pushed edges of masculine. We pushed we danced on edges. And when I started to feel into this retreat, this reunion retreat, it was on that edge. And to be doing it this way, publicly, totally open, in this way is just like, that's how it kind of feels in my system. But just because that's there doesn't mean that it's not also feeling totally perfect and totally right, and like the thing that we could do that will serve our community the most in this moment. So there's links and there's details, and again, you can invite anyone and everyone who you feel might be interested in doing a bit of this kind of exploration, a bit of this kind of work, even if they've never done anything, or if you're listening and you've never done anything before. It's perfect. It's perfect. We'll start from ground zero, and we'll build and we'll deepen, and we'll go where we can with 6 monster workshops together. So I think I just saw someone leave a comment, where do we sign up? You'll see it in links everywhere. So for those of you on the podcast, if you go to rewildingforwomen.com/113, you'll find links there to sign up. If you go to sabrinalynn.com, we'll have things on that page to sign up, just on the home page. for sabrinalynn.com to sign up. If you're on YouTube, you'll find in the description. If you're in our Facebook group, look for just Sabrina Lynn ReWilding. That's our Facebook group. We will do a lot in our Facebook group around this too. I'll do pop-up lives in the Facebook group. We'll do posts like reflective questions. It'll kind of be the space that holds, at least the chatty space that holds this. All the workshops and things will happen. We'll email you a members area to them. But yeah, I could talk until I'm blue in the face about tantric practices, about inner union, about sacred marriage, about what's possible. Or I could just open a space where we can go and do it. And to me, that's infinitely more and infinitely truer than talking about it. So I hope y'all join me on this one. I would love to share this with you. I'd love to dance on the edge with you all for these 7 days of retreat. All right. Thank you all for making this happen. Thank you all for being here and being a part of the community in the ways that you are. Y'all make this happen, and it's beautiful, and I love what we're doing together. Today's a little bit of a quieter day for me, which you can probably tell. Don't worry, I will bring the juice, but it's just kind of honoring a little bit of a quieter time in myself. So if you're like, wow, Sabrina, what the hell's wrong with you? I'm all good, just a quiet day. So honoring that, but all right, I would love to see you all in the Facebook group. We'll probably start talking about reunion in the Facebook group really soon and doing things. I would love to, hey, how is the new puppy? Can you hear him, Melanie, barking in the background? He's upstairs at the moment and he just gave like a little bit of a bark, but he's good. He got his paw. He had to get stitches. My little boy had to get stitches in his paw. Yeah, but he's all good. He's got his stitches and his little boot, and he's bouncing around looking like a goofball, but he's good. Thank you. All right, we're gonna play next Saturday a little bit by ear. I think we're gonna do a circle, but I don't know yet, just with Christmas and travel plans. But we're gonna do stuff just after that, all around reunion. So those workshops start just after that. I think 28th they start, but we'll start stuff in the Facebook group right away. So come check us out at the Facebook group, sign up, send it to anyone and everyone who you're in relationship with. Like all of your friends, your colleagues, your coworkers, definitely your intimate significant other, right? Because from a selfish standpoint, like, hey, I want my relationship with you to go to the next level. So could you do this workshop? Could you do this retreat with me? You maybe don't have to say that, but yeah, I'm sending it to everybody that I don't know. I'm joking, kind of, not really. All right. I love you all, and I will see you when I see you, where I see you, and how I see you.